Sorry, I'm trying to get the kid to sleep. Oh, we are live.
What a time to start talking. Are you kidding me? It's October 5th. It's a weekly Wednesday live stream, and the Give and Go show is back in your life. My name is Griffin, joined as always by Matt Modi and Matt Ferentinos, and obviously super producer Elliot Chiatani, who decided to start talking literally the moment that we went live, but that's okay because we'll cut this out in the actual recording. And so what I'm saying right now isn't going to make any sense. Thank you for joining us for another weekly Wednesday live stream. We do these every Wednesday night, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. It's actually Thursday. I couldn't even get the day right. I'm just like completely fucked up right now. Usually we're here on Wednesday nights. Traditionally, we do this on Wednesday nights. This week, yeah, I had a lot going on. My life has been kind of a state of chaos. We won't get into it too much, but not a big deal. This week, we're going to talk about the Jrue Holiday trade. Jrue Holiday first move from the Bucks to the Blazers. Now he's on the Celtics. We're going to talk about that in as much detail as we can stomach before we have to stop talking about the Celtics because no one on this pod is a Celtics fan. And then we're also going to do an NBA expansion draft. So obviously there's a lot of buzz around the league about Seattle getting a team again and Las Vegas getting a team. Both those teams, as we expect right now, are planned to have expansion teams at the same time. Excuse me, both those cities. We're going to do an expansion draft. We'll talk about that as we get a little bit further into the episode. But before we get going, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you might be watching this, you could be watching this on Twitter. If you haven't done so already, click the follow button or review or subscribe or comment or like or any of that fun stuff that I ask you to do every single episode. I'm not going to call it X. Elliot's telling me in the chat to call it X. I'm not going to do that. It's Twitter. We're going to refer to it as Twitter.
Always going to be Twitter.
It's always going to be Twitter. I don't care who buys it. I don't care. Dissolve the site. I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. That's it. That's the spiel. I'm clearly out of sorts this week. Modi, Ferentinos, good to see you guys. Hope you're having a better week than I have been. Let's talk about Jrue Holiday.
Let's do it. Yeah, great to see you, GQ. Great to see you, Modi.
What would you
hate
say?
The Celtics, though. I was very, very annoyed when I saw that that's where he was going to. But I think they might have gotten worse. I'm a big Time Lord fan.
Okay.
Do you think they got worse because of this trade or because of this trade plus the Porzingis one? Like when you look at totality of it.
I think this trade plus the Porzingis, I mean, Porzingis, I guess, played pretty well last year, but I still think that they gave up a lot of, like, think of who they're playing. They have to stop Giannis. I don't know if Jrue Holiday really helps us too much with that. I mean, he could defend on Dame, but I still think Dame's going to win that scoring matchup every time. I don't really know if the Celtics needed guard help, especially with Tatum and Brown being like primary ball handlers. Ugh, I cannot talk tonight. Ball handlers. I messed that up, kind of like Jaylen Brown's left hand. But I feel like
casual disrespect.
I feel like they upgraded a position that they didn't. I mean, Jrue Holiday is great. He is an all-NBA defensive player, but I just think what they had, I think they more just underperformed, and it wasn't like the team makeup, which is why they didn't fall short. I just think Tatum and Brown just did not show up more than anything. That's just,
Yeah, it's interesting because if you look at like start to finish, they lost Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, Malcolm Brogdon, and Robert Williams, and they added basically Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. So their depth is significantly worse. I also feel like that doesn't really matter because like in the playoffs, they're just going to go 7 deep and their top
short lineups anyways. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And like, they're going to be able to get rotation players throughout the regular season to just eat up minutes if they really need to. I think they got a lot better. Like they basically just replaced Marcus Smart with Jrue Holiday, at least for this specific trade. And Jrue Holiday can shoot, unlike Marcus Smart. And I think he's not quite as much of like a pit bull on defense with the way he plays, but he's probably just as good of a defender, at least on ball. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Bucks were probably pissed. They're like, we trade Jrue Holiday away, and he ends up on their like biggest rival. They're like, what the hell? Yeah,
they had to expect it to some degree. I mean, obviously there was buzz around this once the move to the Blazers happened. Bill Simmons was putting it into the ether. I assume like he went from He's kind of been down talking Jrue Holiday over the past year or so, and he's not like he's like hard on him, but he's been down talking him a little bit recently. And then the Celtics got him, and he was like, "Yeah, I have Jrue Holiday top 25 on my best players in the NBA right now." And it's like,
Of course,
all right,
you
buddy.
do.
Yeah, and you have Peyton Pritchard 26th. So I mean,
Yeah.
your list is interesting.
I saw something that I was like, yeah, it's an overwhelmingly best team in the NBA, which is why I'm just like, nah, let's chill out on that a little bit.
I'd still
I
take the
mean,
Bucks.
Yeah. So not only would I take the Bucks, but I'm kind of in between you guys on this. I do think the Celtics got better. I'm not going to say they got worse, but there are some very legitimate concerns with this team that kind of existed to a degree already. You know, obviously Robert Williams already had the injury stuff. So and Malcolm Brogdon had the injury stuff. There were injured guys on this team. Kristaps Porzingis also has the injury stuff. Jrue Holiday has had some injury issues, and he's very clearly slowing down a little bit. We talked about this a week or two ago, and he's not the guy in the playoffs that you want to be one of your primary offensive threats. So let's say Tatum has one of the injuries that he's had for the past couple of years, or Jaylen Brown has one of the injuries that he's had for the past couple of years. If Jrue becomes your second or third offensive threat, that's not a great spot to be in if you're the Celtics. Granted, we're talking about the two best players on the Celtics right now with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Basically, any team in the league, you could say if they lose their best players, they're not going to be that great. But this is very much like a all-in move. There's a lot of big contracts on this team. Porzingis signed kind of a team-friendly extension, but still a high-money extension. Jrue reportedly is talking to them right now about an extension. We've all talked about the Jaylen Brown deal. We know Jason Tatum is going to get just an absurd deal very soon. There's a lot of money going out on this roster. There's the whole thing with the new like double apron for the luxury tax. This team is going to spend a lot of money. Kind of like the Bucks. This is a this year or next year team. And if they don't get it done in the next 2 years, which they very well might, they're going to need to start tearing pieces apart because we need to win ASAP. We're spending $250 million on 5 guys. That's before we even touch the bench.
Yeah. I mean, they've been in the conference finals 3 straight years. At least they went to the finals 2 years ago. So I think they already were in a win now mood and now they're probably better. As good as they are now, you probably owe it to yourself and then just kind of figure it out later. They also have a ton of assets. I feel like they've been able to pivot pretty well because even though they've made so many moves and they've been so good for so long, they've done a pretty good job holding on to their assets. Like they have 1 million second-round picks. And they do a good job, generally filling out the end of their bench. So yeah. And I don't necessarily think it makes them better than the Bucks. I definitely do think it makes them better. And I think it puts them even a higher tier. Now I think there's 2 clear leaders in the East, and then it's everybody else. And then it's the Cavs, the Sixers, the Heat, the Knicks. I put even below that tier, even though the Knicks just beat them in the playoffs. But I think this just cement. Yeah,
it's interesting that you say that about the Knicks because that seems to be the collective opinion on the Knicks. On really the top of the East, it's these 2 teams, and then you've got the Sixers and the Cavs right below, and then the Heat as well because the Heat are going to do Heat things. And then the Knicks are always seemingly in 6th place. And people seem to put them in the same category as the Hawks or even whoever ends up being the 8th seed. When the Knicks had almost as good a year as the rest of these teams, and they had a better playoff run than everybody else. But it's we can look at them and be this is a flawed roster. There's a limit to this.
And it's the youth of the Cavs. It's the expectation that Donovan Mitchell, even though he's been in the league, feels like forever, is still young. Then Garland and Evan Mobley are very young. And even Jared Allen has been around a while, is still pretty young. When we were doing our draft, I was surprised that he was 24 or something. He's pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Allen's 25. So you were very close. I could have, if you had asked me how long Jared Allen had been in the league, I would have told you 10 years.
Jared Allen when did he turn 25? Because I swear my notes have him as 24.
He's at
167 days ago.
So my notes were incorrect.
He's at his own injury concerns as well, it seems like. I feel like he's missed a lot of time for the Cavs. Just as a Nets guy, I like to follow him too. I like to follow the guys from that 2018 team that left, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, D'Angelo Russell, and like I feel like he's had his own injury struggles for the Cavs at times.
For sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say he's an Iron Man for the position, because obviously you do see a lot of centers and power forwards who play like 75 to 82 games. And we saw a bunch of years with DeAndre Jordan where he played like 7 straight years of 82. Jared Allen misses, 10 to 15 games, but I don't think he's the big issue with that Cavs roster. It's more their wing depth than it is their front court. But yeah, I look at the Knicks and I just don't and I could be wrong. They could win 50 games this year and be a top 4 seed, and I'm still going to be down on them for some reason. Like, I just don't believe in them. I don't believe in Julius Randle.
They just have such a clear ceiling. Like there's no way that team, they have no upward potential. Like Jalen Brunson's awesome. He basically played at his ceiling last year. Julius Randle plays at his ceiling every other year. RJ Barrett sucks. And quickly
he does, right? Like we can agree on that. Like I'm not going to disrespect RJ Barrett. Like he's still like an NBA player, but from the hype of what he was supposed to be to who he has ended up being, it's just like he's the same dude he was the year he came into the league. He reminds me a lot in that respect of Wiggins before he went to Golden State. But at least with Wiggins, you could kind of look at him and be like, if he hadn't been drafted to Minnesota, I could see this guy being a winning player, but it was just the wrong situation. Yeah. I look at
I was going to say Randall, even before he came to the Knicks. Yeah. I thought he was kind of the same player, and then he evolved a bit. He did have his regression year the year after that, but then he had another bounce back. Like, and he's a solid piece, but because he was on the Lakers before and kind of struggled when they broke up the Lakers at that point. I just thought it was funny on the same roster, though, because I kind of agree. Like, maybe change in scenery. Man, I'm just messing up tonight. Change in scenery would help him out, but yeah, it is interesting.
It's you and me, Ferentinos. Monai hasn't sounded better than he does tonight, and you and I literally just messed that up. You and I cannot get out of our own ways. We're stumbling over everything. We're so used to Wednesdays. Clearly, we're burnt out by Thursdays. I don't even know.
I'm in draft mood. That's what it is.
Sure. Yeah, and obviously you want to watch a Commanders game because you're a huge Commanders fan. Everyone knows that about you. You guys want to just actually before we move on to the expansion draft, looking at the Blazers side of things, is there anything that you want to talk about for the Blazers side of things? Because they turned what was this Dame situation with everyone thinking he was going to go to the Heat for kind of minor assets. Tyler Hero, good player, some decent picks, but they were going to end up being bad picks, probably some salary throw in, into basically a retool, rebuild with a ton of assets. And they still have a ton of good pieces. Anything you want to talk about there, or you want to just say the Blazers killed this when we thought they were going to absolutely biff it?
I feel like the only thing they really didn't get is that great draft capital, unless because I mean it's not like what the Lakers and the Clippers gave up. Like they gave up they're basically the next 6 years worth of their draft. Mm-hmm. So I think they're still not quite at the level of the Pelicans, the Rockets, and the Oklahoma City in terms of draft assets, but I mean, Robert Williams is good when he's healthy. They could probably, if they wanted to, they could probably flip him.
I think they will.
You think they will? They said they want to keep him, but they might be saying that.
I just I don't think you could pair Ayton and Robert Williams on the court together. Yeah. So then one of them you're having be like your bench big, but Robert Williams isn't consistently healthy enough. And I feel like he doesn't make sense as a bench big because so much of what he gives you is defense when you want your bench to kind of be like a scoring threat. I don't know. I could be entirely wrong about how they envision their team. But if I were them and I thought like Ayton could be the guy, and you've got Shaedon Sharpe and you got Anthony Simons, and you've kind of got this other roster that you can build around of all these young dudes, just move Robert Williams. Just get him to a team that wants to contend and has room for a big man who's going to play 24 to 28 a night and miss 25 games a season.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think the way the Blazers are built is they could use a defender as good as Robert Williams, who's like DeAndre Ayton is so hit or miss on defense. Like he was really good that playoff run, but he's mostly been a negative. Like I feel like he fits better. Obviously, the offensive talent isn't even as close to DeAndre Ayton and the quote unquote potential, but I feel like he makes more sense than DeAndre Ayton does on the Blazers if they're trying to have like a more functional team.
Sure. I don't know, man. Watch out for dominating this year.
Dominating.
I think he's coming on strong. He said a lot of things in the media, which obviously, you know, so does Ben Simmons. Can't trust the media. Can't trust the workout quotes that people give.
Instagram.
I think I'm not saying Ayton is ever going to look like who he was in 2021 again. I think he's going to look closer to 2021 than he has the past couple of years. I think the Phoenix situation was just like irreversibly fucked.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. You guys want to move on to the expansion draft? The real highlight of this one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Game, I'm ready.
All right, fantastic. Elliot's reminding me to explain the rules. Elliot, worry not. I'm going to explain the rules. Here's how it's going to go. Like I said, there's 2 teams that are going to be coming into the NBA in the next couple years. We're going to probably have the Seattle, whatever you want to call them. We can call them the Sonics. The Vegas. Do we have a name for the Vegas team? I don't know. Vegas
Casinos.
We'll call them the Vegas Casinos. Yeah, the Seattle Supersonics Part 2 and the Vegas Casinos. Really great name for LeBron James's future team. Obviously, those teams are going to need 15 players apiece. We're not going to do 15 players apiece. We're going to do a top 8 for both teams. We have gone through, and Elliot did this for us. He went through every single team in the league. He protected 3 players on every team. So, you know, you look at the Warriors, and he made Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and I think Draymond Green unavailable for us to draft. Everybody else on the Warriors is eligible for us to draft, but each team can only be picked from one time. So let's say somebody picks somebody from the Warriors. That means that that's the only person from the Warriors who can be picked for this expansion team. You can't have the Vegas Casinos be like, hey, we want the Warriors 4th through 15th best players, and then we're just going to fill everything else on the margins. The order is going to be Ferentinos, then me, then Modai, and then we're going to snake back. Like I said, we're going to do 8 picks. So we've got almost, I guess, about 400 players, maybe a little bit less than 400 players to choose from. Obviously, we're not going to be going super deep into it since we're only drafting a top 8. We do not need a roster of 15. Anything that I'm forgetting, guys?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty well set out. I think the most important thing is it's not a team that's built to win this year. It's like an expansion team. So like, how do we actually think teams would build for the future, and not just how can I get the best product on the court for this upcoming year?
Sure. Yeah. That's a really, really good point. We're building for more than this year. Elliot is reminding me to ignore salaries. We're definitely ignoring salaries, particularly because, again, we're only drafting what really is going to amount to half of a team.
Yeah.
And most of the guys on this list are not max salary guys anyways. So it's not like we're not going to be running up against the luxury tax our first year as a team. Yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, Ferentinos is going to go first. I'm going to go second. Modai is going to go third. Then Modai will go for his second pick. Me, Ferentinos, and then we're just going to keep on snaking until we all have 8 players. Ferentinos, the floor is yours. Who is the first pick of the 2023 not real teams, Vegas Casinos, and Supersonics Part 2 expansion draft?
We'll mess it up.
Yeah, I've thought about this a few times. I definitely was like, you know, do I want a guy that can just help me win now? It's kind of nice. Like with the Vegas Knights, they came in and were just amazing right away. Like to be in the finals in your first season is awesome. But big men win championships. And I think a change of scenery, nailed it that time, is going to help this player, my number 1 pick, DeAndre Ayton.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
taking him.
So
I'm
Jokic,
channeling that. What's up?
So Jokic just won a championship. When was the last time a big man won a championship? Unless we're counting Giannis as a big man.
Are we counting LeBron as a big an AD?
Yeah.
I mean, AD, I guess. LeBron definitely not. Not at that year either.
Are we not counting Jordan Poole as a big man?
Or Steph?
So here's a quick question on this before we continue. And I honestly, I don't, and Elliot's bringing it up in the chat. Good thing. Is this a Portland pick or is this a Phoenix pick?
Oh, no.
Well, this is a Phoenix pick just based on I should have specified that. This is based on the sheet that we made before the Dame trade. Obviously, a lot of pieces have moved, but right now this is from the Suns, DeAndre Ayton. So I didn't update the sheet, at least.
So the Suns are off the board. DeAndre Ayton is off the board. number one pick for the second time in his life. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is
so,
correct.
yep.
Yeah. So, in a world with a Luka Doncic, you've got a DeAndre Ayton. Obviously, Luka Doncic has been protected. Although
I
knowing
would've
the
picked a Luka
Mavericks,
Doncic.
who knows if they would have protected him? Who's to say? They're a confusing team.
Number 7 on my board. I just got to say it. You picked the number 7 player on my board. So
We all look at different boards.
I'm stunned by I had him 18th.
18th. Wow.
18th.
Okay. So I was in the middle of you two.
And I honestly think of the three of us, I'm the highest on DeAndre Ayton. But I was like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the time, I'm looking through my draft board right now. Is there anybody that I had on the Suns that was higher? There wasn't. So no, I don't know why I had him 18th. I didn't, based on what we've seen from him the past 2 years, not a winning player. So I'm going to go back on what I said a minute ago about DeAndre Ayton, and I'm going to say not a great first pick.
There you go. All right, Griffin, you're up.
Hey,
all
How
right.
are you going to mess this up?
put it in
How
the
am I
comments. We'll look at the team at the end of the draft.
There's a lot of ways that I'm going to mess this up. Honestly, I really wanted, and I tried to convince him to go first or to go before me. Elliot picked the order, Ferentinos, me, and then Modai. And Modai had said something about there being an obvious first pick. And so I was like stressed. I was like, Modai has to go in front of me. I tried to offer him the second pick. He didn't take it. I'm breaking kayfabe a little bit by saying this. With my first pick of the 2023 draft, I'm taking Anthony Simons.
It's a good pick.
Oh.
I was hoping nobody took someone on the Blazers because that also removes Shaedon Sharpe, who was number 5 on my board. That hurts. I know it's your pick, so I'll let you talk. I just want to know that hurts me.
It's really funny that the three of us all tried to get somebody that's currently on the Blazers as our first pick. That's actually incredible. Fortunately, because we're counting Ayton as part of the Suns, I am able to get Anthony Simons. Averaged 21, 3 and 4 last year. Super young dude, has already shown that he can be like a playoff contributing level guy. Obviously, there's some turnover issues that you're going to see with an undersized guard. There are some inefficiency issues, but there's so much room for him to grow. He's already a really, really talented guard at a young age. And I kind of favor, even though the league is trending away from this a little bit in favor of like wings over everything, I kind of just favor building your team around a guard. I think getting started with a talented guard is kind of the way to go. So I am taking Anthony Simons with the first pick, and the Trailblazers and the Suns are off the board.
How many finals has he been to? Just curious,
How many finals has Ayton been to as the number one option?
Yeah, I mean, Ayton I thought was pretty damn good one of the years. But still, hey, you can have your guard. I'm thinking of some other guards that are younger that might be better than Simon soon, but we're looking at different boards. I
don't even necessarily say that there are guards that are younger than him that will likely end up being better than him. But, and again, an expansion team, so we're acknowledging that. I think he gets you a lot closer to contending in the next few years versus needing 4 or 5 years of growth. That, granted, we've seen, like you mentioned with the Knights, they competed immediately. Expansion teams, we really don't know what kind of organizations they're going to be. I might not end up running a good organization. So I'd rather have a guy who's kind of been there, done that, over a rookie who's going to be the guy expected to set the culture, because I just don't know if they'd be able to.
That's fair. All right, Anthony Simons, number 2 on my board. So accurately went second. With my 2 picks, I'm just going to say them back to back. I'm going to take the number 1 player on my board, Jalen Williams, who probably would have been the rookie of the year if the season started like 1 month later and everybody forgot what happened in the month of October. And I was really struggling between who I should take second. I'm going to take Jaden Hardy of the Mavericks, basically shooting for upside there. He's super young. I thought he had a pretty good end to last season. I also liked what he showed in the one preseason game that I watched one highlight of today when he had a nice pick and roll with Dwight Powell, I believe it was. So I get myself a guard and I get myself a wing. Everybody knows championships are won off of guards and wings, not big men. So now the Mavericks and the Thunder are off the board.
Awesome. Yeah. Honestly, I like really both picks a lot. I had Jalen Williams 11, so I did have him. I honestly, I didn't think he was going to fall to me. That's part of it. It was kind of like, if he's still around by the time I get to my third pick, he's going to be in that range.
After my first pick, you didn't know if he'd be there?
I didn't expect him to be the first pick. I will say that. I did not expect Jalen Williams to be the first pick.
He would have been. He would have been my first pick. Yeah.
He would have been your first pick. Okay. Yeah, good. And Jaden Hardy, really talented player, probably going to be a long time guy in this league. I like that you're getting him out of Dallas. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be great for his development.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. He's so young and he needs time to develop. And they're on now that they traded for Kyrie, they're like in such a so much pressure to win now that I worry about like him and the rookie they drafted. Lively, I think is his name, right? Derek Lively.
I think they said they started him at least in the game that they played today, where they got killed by the Wolves. But I think they said that they got him minutes.
Am I remembering correctly that Jaden Hardy was a draft day trade
from to the Mavericks?
To the Mavericks. I feel like I remember the Mavericks wanting him and trading something to get him. And he wasn't like a top pick by any means. I have something in the back of my head that like the Mavericks very specifically wanted him.
I'm trying to I could be misremembering. I remember him being like a really like a wild card in the draft because he didn't play in college. He went to I think the G League and then was drafted out of the G League or
that helps a guy. If he did come from the G League, I will support a G League guy because I will take pro experience over a lot of things.
Yeah, G League Ignite. Yeah. He's actually not as young as I thought. He's 21. But anyway,
21's young. I don't need a guy to be a 19-year-old.
I thought he would like Jalen Williams. Yeah.
Jalen Williams isn't Jalen Williams still 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like mad young.
Which way did you spell Jalen Williams, Matt?
Just
want to make sure you took the correct Jalen Williams.
I took the right one.
Right? Yeah. Jalen Ian. Yeah, the better of the two by a significant margin.
Griffin.
Elliot is asking me in the chat, who did Griffin pick? I have not done my second pick yet because, again, this is a snake draft, which you participate in every single year for NFL fantasy. But if there's no objections, I will move on to my second pick.
Yep, go ahead.
Let's go.
All right, this one's kind of predictable. I'm taking Kyle Kuzma. Championship pedigree, baby. Put that man in. Slot that boy in. Kyle Kuzma, genuinely good player. Has a lot of fans. Dates a supermodel. It's pretty big. Going to have a lot of hot chicks coming to the games. Averaged 21, 7, and 4 last year. 4 assists is not like a ton of assists by any means, but he is one of the better distributing guys at his position in the league. He's a great rebounder, particularly an offensive rebounder. His scoring, I'm not going to pretend like those 21 points are the most efficient 21 points you're ever going to see. But I've got 2 essentially 20-point per game scorers on this team. It's going to be an ugly 40 between those two. But, people are going to tune in. We're going to have a pretty decent number of fans in the crowd. We're going to make some merch money.
You're basically building the Wizards, a team that will never compete in a million years. But
that's okay.
They're going to get to the bubble. That's all.
They might be able to get a 10 seed, maybe.
Look, if I can build the Wizards so that somewhere down the line, LeBron James can retire and decide to come to the Wizards a couple years later, or the Vegas casinos, then that's fine. I just need him to do the Jordan thing.
That's true. This guy just
Wizards legend Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Ferentinos, your second pick.
I got 2 picks coming up. Thinking about a few ways that I can do this. I think I'm going to go with a past MVP, proven winner. I'm going to take him from the 76ers, the fat suit, James Harden.
All right. James Harden. That's actually really fun timing because Modai had to leave for a moment.
He was so disgusted with my pick.
He saw the way that you started announcing James Harden, and he was like, I gotta get off of this. I can't be part of this. Let me say 2 things. One, I'm a huge James Harden guy. Everyone knows that. ASU baby, let's go. Sun Devils forks up. James Harden, incredible player. I think the assists leader last year or very close to it. Like, he will make you a contender very quickly. I said I'm going to say two things. I'm going to say three things. He'll make you a contender quickly. There's also very much a ceiling on a James Harden-led team in his early to mid 30s because of his injuries and just the style of play he's going to have. Your team is going to be kind of ugly to watch. I'm going to say that. Particularly James Harden plus DeAndre Ayton. That's a
you think it's
playoff
ugly?
choking combo. But what was the other thing I was going to say? I forgot the other thing that I was going to say.
Well, can I defend
Never
my
mind.
pick before you just?
Yeah,
continue
please
to shit
defend
on
your
it?
pick, and maybe I'll remember what I was going to say about you. Oh,
Does anyone?
no, this is not me shitting on it. Before you say something, it's insane to me that he was not a protected player. That Tobias Harris was protected over James Harden. That's my only thing.
Sorry, it was horrible timing. I had to let Ross into his apartment building because I have his keys.
I think it was incredible. That's the funniest timing that he said James Harden, and you were like, peace.
That's the worst pick I can imagine. Imagine in an expansion draft taking a 34-year-old player who is now
trying
on
to
his
sell
third
tickets.
trade request in 4 years. He is going to last. What?
Does
In
James
Vegas?
Harden sell tickets? Does James Harden at 34 sell tickets?
No.
Is he on promotional gear for the Sixers? Was he last year?
I assume
Was he
so.
on tickets?
I mean,
was he on the stadium? Like,
Does that mean
I mean, I
sure,
imagine,
but that's also the Sixers. Like, this is a new market.
I picked the one actual superstar that was available in the second
Sure.
round, is what I'm saying.
Wait,
And he's a proven
6 years
superstar.
ago.
I mean, who won the 2 playoff games for the Sixers in the big series last year? It wasn't
Wasn't
Embiid.
Joel Embiid? I'll tell you
It was
that.
James Harden.
I didn't pick Joel Embiid either.
I so clearly, again, we're falling on different sides of this. Before Modi got back, I was saying it's insane to me, and you probably heard this part of it. It's insane to me that James Harden was not like, if this was reality and not Elliott, James Harden is absolutely being protected. Like, a team could hate him and they're going to protect him because no one wants to play against him.
I wouldn't mind playing against him, especially in the playoffs when you know he's going to game 6 and 7 when the series actually matters. He's going to fold. Elliott
said in the chat he doesn't want to play for them.
I could not
It's
imagine
rude.
a worse possible pick. I didn't have Kyle Kuzma on my draft board because I knew I wasn't going to draft him. James Harden wasn't on my draft board because that's a horrible pick for an expansion draft. Wow, I cannot.
I mean, to each their own.
I cannot.
So I did expect Matt to draft him, or Ferentinos, excuse me. I expected Ferentinos to draft him to the point that I did not even number him on my draft board because I was like, first off, I don't really want him because of the reasons that I already said. And second off, he's not going to fall to me. Like, if he's my 8th pick, I'll consider it, but he better know that he's my 8th pick and he better act accordingly.
God, I mean, imagine building a team with 2 bigger losers in DeAndre Ayton and James Harden. My God, that team.
Here's my thing, Ferentinos, making him the 2nd pick. Like, he's going to try and take over that team.
Does anyone know how to unlock a center or make a center look like actually good at basketball other than James Harden?
True.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
That's true.
I've watched a lot of James Harden in my day. I know I'm going to be in the playoffs. I know the Vegas casinos are going to be selling tickets. We're going to be having fun.
Why are we all the Vegas casinos? What we should have done was we all should have had our own team names.
That's actually a fair point. Of all of our picks so far, Fantino's has a team that's probably actually going to make the playoffs. Versus
his team has the most talent so far. That's true.
Yeah, and you know what?
I also would not want to be another player on that team. And I would not want to coach that team, and I definitely would not want to run that front office.
Well, that's why my 3rd pick is going to be a selfless player. I feel like at this point, I'm really, I'm going to do it. I changed my pick. I have
a suspicion of who this could be.
Sucks because I'm going to eliminate a team where I do think that there's another really good player here. But Griffin, you know how much I love. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick to my first one. I'm going to go Cam Johnson on the Nets.
Okay, but like you mentioned me by name, and now I don't know what you were going to say, and that's frustrating.
I was going to take
Cam Johnson's a good pick.
I don't want to give away my picks but I was thinking of going Bruce Brown there for the Pacers. And I thought even Buddy Hield would have been a better pick there, but And the thing was, Bruce Brown was like the pseudo center on those Nets teams, and he was playing that role. Where I want Ayton to play that role, obviously, as the center. And Cam Johnson is just one of the best 3-and-D players. I mean, he's always talked about as an asset that the Nets can move. I mean, Cam Johnson and DFS, which they got, including Mikal Bridges, were all players that are heavily sought after. He played well in the FIBA team. Really good catch and shoot 3-point shooter, which would be perfect with the James Harden team. It doesn't seem like he's a guy that would really want an expanded role, so it would work well with the team chemistry. Just kind of put his head down, play his role really well. And I think I could use a little defensive help on my team for sure.
Sure. It's a good pick. I have no negative things to say about that pick.
I don't think anyone has negative things to say about Cam Johnson generally. Like, I couldn't come up with something
third time's
negative
a charm,
to say
baby.
about him. With your third pick, you took your most valuable player.
Yeah.
Which is a good spot to be in, I guess, because it means that we didn't take him. Yeah, okay. So let me just confirm before I move on to my third pick. The Nets are off the board. The Mavericks are off the board. The Thunder, the Sixers, the Suns, the Blazers, and the Wizards. Am I forgetting anybody? That's 7, right? Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes, that's 7. Okay. All right. This is tough because now I'm starting to think of like team construction.
Yeah.
Which is probably too early to be thinking about team construction because I've only drafted a guard and a forward. With my third pick, I'm partially going to take this guy so that I don't have to listen to Ferentino say his name. I'm taking Jakob Poeltl from the Toronto Raptors.
Jeez, what a boring pick. I mean, that
Not
guy,
Grady Dick.
How many non-diehard NBA fans know who Jakob Poeltl is?
Jakob Poeltl is one of the best defensive centers. So, yeah, he's not selling jerseys. I get that. That's fine. But he's one of the best defensive centers in basketball. He's one of the best defensive players in basketball. He's been there. He's done that. He's been on a lot of good teams. He's not an all-star, but if there was an all-star team for like defensive players that is not the all-defense teams because of the position requirements for that, I think he's likely making an all-star defensive team. He's played for 2 really good organizations. He's played for the Spurs. He's played for the Raptors. He's largely played with really good teammates his entire career. He's a vet in this game. He's been in the league for 7 or 8 years, played in Europe. I like Jakob Poeltl a lot. I really didn't want him to get to Ferentino's because I don't want to hear him call him whatever he's going to call him. And yeah, he's just I think there's going to be some potential fit issues next to Kuzma, just because Poeltl is not exactly the greatest offensive player in the world. And they're both going to compete for rebounds. But there's a very real chance that I'm going to have the best defense or best defensive 4 and 5 in this 8-man team.
Would you take Jared Allen or Jakob Poeltl?
That's what. Okay, why'd you take him over Jared Allen? Because
Jared Allen
is my next pick.
Jared Allen has because he has the injury concerns. He has the injury concerns more than Poeltl does. Poeltl has missed some games, but usually he misses games because of rest, because the Raptors rest him and because the Spurs rest him. He's basically never hurt. Allen traditionally misses 15 to 20 games, and he's had a couple years where he's missed more of that. We were talking about it earlier. He's just not an Iron Man. I want someone who's going to be an everyday kind of player.
And it rhymes with Squirtle.
I would rather have a player who's better at basketball. Availability is not the best availability. You know what the best ability is? Ability.
No, availability is the best ability. You could have an MVP who never plays.
I'm available. Are teams coming to sign me? I don't know.
Okay, if ability is largely a lateral move, not Matt Modi, an NBA player, then yes, availability is the best ability.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No one cares if you're available if you're not good at basketball.
Jakob Poeltl is good at basketball. That's why it doesn't matter if you're available.
I know he is good. He always has like a good plus minus, and he fits well on a team. I just thought it was interesting with Jared Allen there that you went Poeltl. But I mean, you defended your point.
Also, Poeltl, you want to look at their counting stats. They're basically the same. Poeltl averages 13, 9, and 3. Modi may have frozen. No, he's good. Jared Allen averages, what do I have him at? 14, 10, and 2. He's a little bit more efficient, but he's also been on the past few years better teams.
Oh yeah, you said that your Pirtle's been in two good organizations, which is true.
Good organizations. Yeah.
Never when those teams were winning anything. He literally left in the Kawhi trade, went to the Spurs.
Sure.
And then he went back to the Raptors.
He was on good Raptors teams.
When?
Just not this most recent Raptors team.
Yeah, when he didn't play, right? Before, like when he wasn't actually playing.
He played all 82 in 2018 when the Raptors won like 50-some games.
So was the Kawhi year the year after that?
Yeah, because Kawhi went in 19. Pirtle was on the team in 18 when they were the 1 seed. And then obviously they lost to the Cavs, but so did everybody else. And he played literally every single game that season.
Oh, that's actually more than 18. That's more than I thought. I thought I was thinking the year prior when he played like 11 minutes. That's what I thought he played when he was on the Raptors.
His rookie year? Yeah, he wasn't a particularly great rookie, and his free throw numbers were trash. Once he started pulling the free throws up, he started getting a lot more burn.
Yeah, I was thinking his year. Yeah, I just had the years mixed up. So that was actually better than I thought. Yeah, sorry. I'll take the better player, Jared Allen.
Okay, so the Cavs are off the board.
Cavs are off the board.
Yeah.
And Raptors are off the board.
And I probably would have taken Cam Johnson if he was available. I think that was a good pick. But I'll take the number 4 player on my board who might be a little bit underutilized with Jalen Williams and Jaden Hardy. But I'll take Keegan Murray, mostly just to be a sharpshooter. Had a pretty good rookie year for the Kings. Showed up in Summer League, immediately showed everybody that he was too good for Summer League and literally one game of Summer League when he put up like 40. So I have Jalen Williams, Jaden Hardy, Keegan Murray, Jared Allen. Young, exciting, mostly available, but better talented team than either of you.
You want to hear a fun fact about Keegan Murray and Jared Allen?
What?
I fucked up my own count. Not that I wouldn't have taken them. I have them both listed as my 8th player on my list. I have them both listed as 8. They're the only people that have a double number.
Number 8.
And yeah, I've got them back to back on here. And they would have, one of the two of them would have been my next pick. So it wouldn't have been Jared Allen because I just shit talked him a bunch. It was going to be Keegan Murray. He was going to be my next pick. I'll tell you that. I'll break kayfabe again. Keegan Murray was going to be my next pick.
Sure. Number 4 player on my board.
Yeah,
so no more
pick.
Kings.
All right, Kings are off the board as well.
Kings and Cavs.
We are taking out all the later in the alphabet teams. We've only got a couple left.
There's still a lot of good teams left there. There's a lot of good.
We've talked about Jared Allen a lot this episode, more than Jared Allen gets talked about in NBA circles pretty much ever. So yeah, he's in a good spot. I think it's you've got scoring, you've got defense. I feel good about your team. I think you feel like you're gunning for like a 7 seed. Like you want to be in the playoffs year one.
I wonder what
but this team clearly has the best potential of either two of you teams. Like in 5 years from now, this team is going to be remarkably better than either of your teams.
Or
they're going to be on a different team.
Well, Jaden Hardy and Jalen Williams are on the rookie contracts. They're at least
they'll get extensions. Extensions.
Jared Allen
will be probably elsewhere.
Yeah,
the Vegas casinos love to spend, baby. We'll keep all of our boys.
So
every time you call them the Vegas casinos, I laugh. Say again, Muddy.
I forget what I was going to say. It was probably a really good, intelligent point that I forgot.
Okay. All right. I really don't love never having back-to-back picks. I feel like back-to-back picks, man. You really just punch those home.
Yeah, it's the best.
With my number 1 pick, not my number 1 pick, excuse me. With my number 4 pick, I'm kind of surprised this guy hasn't been taken. I don't know if maybe you guys know something about him that I don't. Oh shit, I can't take him because the team's already been taken. Fuck. I was still thinking he was with one of his other teams. I'll tell you who I was going to take. Who's no longer available. I was going to take Lou Dort.
He was on my board.
Can't do that.
I like Lou Dort.
I was thinking Lou Dort. I don't know why I was thinking not OKC anymore. Okay, that changes things.
It's tough.
Lou Dort is a beast, though.
Yeah,
I'll take
torture changes.
I'll take off-brand Lou Dort. I'm going to take Josh Hart with my 4th pick.
Josh Hart.
Hart.
I like it. Role player, knows his role.
One of the best rebounding guards in the league, to the point where I feel weird even calling him a guard. He's kind of just like an undersized forward. 10, 8, and 4. huge part of the Knicks being who the Knicks were this year. Injury concerns. Absolutely some injury concerns. He's one of those guys that I think plays a little bit too hard for his body. He also got a Nintendo Switch from a guy on Reddit and then like never paid him for it until years later. We may have brought this story up on the pod before. There's some character concerns.
The weirdest story. I never heard that before you brought it up. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
It's clearly made a really big impact on me because I think about Josh Hart all the time. He's going to be my number 4 pick, and the Knicks officially are off the board.
I actually think he was one of the reasons why the Knicks did look good and actually like won a playoff series. Is Josh Hart was really clutch, hit a lot of clutch shots. I do like him on those old Lakers teams too. I know he was one of the Summer League MVPs, although he was playing like 3 years into the league playing Summer League, where it's like he probably shouldn't have been playing, but it was fun to watch him dominate. And I mean, he stepped it up. That was a good pick.
Josh Hart reportedly, and this could be Lakers misinformation, so it's hard to say. Apparently, he almost ended up being a sticking point in the Anthony Davis trade because they were fine giving up Ingram, they were fine giving up Lonzo, they were fine giving up picks. They really wanted to keep Kuzma and Josh Hart. The Pelicans didn't want Kuzma, and I don't think it would have really worked anyways if they had taken him because there's just too many guys that need the ball. Lakers really wanted to keep Josh Hart, and I think, things worked out the way they worked out with them winning a title. But he was a little bit of Caruso before Caruso for the Lakers. Yeah.
A little bit of injury concerns, as you said. I always say that availability is the best ability. So.
You're such a sack of shit. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Valentino's back to you for your 5 and 6. Or your 4 and 5, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. There's still a lot of names on here, and I think with this next pick, I kind of need another guard. I need someone to go next to James Harden. I'd like a defensive-minded guard and one that got clowned, but I think is pretty talented. I'm going to take Dylan Brooks from the Rockets.
You could not have picked. It's your team is the dragon meme, the 3-headed dragon meme, where it's like Cam Johnson is the 2 heads that are good, and then the goofy is, or like the whatever, I don't know what the 3rd head is doing, is DeAndre Ayton, James Harden, and Dylan Brooks. That is the most hateable team imaginable. But he cooked in FIBA, so.
I mean, yeah, I think this is going to be a good team. When it looks at just like pure talent and the way that they're going to flow together, I think I'm doing a pretty good job here, especially with what's available. Team. I mean, there's a reason why Dylan Brooks got paid. Ime Udoka himself said that he chose Fred and Brooks over James.
Let's just say Ime Udoka. Let's just get ahead of this one a little bit. Maybe not the greatest judge of character.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Miss Cecilio girl, what's wrong with that? I mean, got the Celtics to the finals. I kind of wish he was on the Nets. I think the Nets wouldn't have fallen apart if the league just wasn't like, oh, the Nets are signing all these guys and Udoka.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of like, look, I get looking at Udoka and being like, yeah, really good coach. I can understand that wanting him on the team. Are we confident that he's that good of a coach? Like, give me a couple years with a team that doesn't have multiple supermax players and one of the best front offices in the sport before we really say if Udoka's a good coach or not. Because like there was a point there where we were looking at Luke Walton and his 27-0 Warriors run and being like, every team wants this guy. And then we saw what happened with the Lakers.
That's a fair point.
Good thing we're not drafting coaches.
God, Ferentinos' entire team is basically built on people that weren't on my board. Like, there's no scenario in which I was drafting Dylan Brooks.
Well, you know what?
I love how much you're bullying during this. We need to draft with you more. You need to be on list night, buddy. There's so much bullying going on.
I love draft. Yeah, people always say that I'm the meanest person in our fantasy draft, especially because I'm terrible at fantasy football. So I just roast everybody the entire draft and then proceed to finish in last. So to you being terrible at fantasy football, are you a really good drafter who ends up having like a lot of like? Are you bad at the waiver wire or? an average drafter. My problem is I overthink things. I like try to be too cute, and like I like to think that I'm like more clever than everybody. So it's like, oh, this is the obvious pick. Well, guess what? I'm not going to do that, and then I'll just end up picking a worse player because
you zag too often. Got it.
You know who does well in fantasy football and in drafts?
James Harden. I don't know.
well.
Where's he going? Yeah, Ferentinos is actually Ferentinos, and I think Jack Schwinn are probably the best fantasy players I know, and I'm pretty sure most of Jack being good is because he's on teams with Ferentinos all the time.
well,
don't tell him I said that.
I'm going to take another name and a guy that's always hurt. Yeah, but I like flashy names. I think this is a guy that there's two guys here that I think have the chance to make leaps based on offseason hype posts. One of them, I'm going to let Griffin pick, so I think he might want to take him. I'm going to take Michael Porter Jr. from the Nuggets.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good pick when he's not like one of your best players. He can
Another character concern.
He's not one of my best players. He's my fourth best player.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a good.
I would say that's one of your best players.
Well,
I mean, he's his fourth best player, right? And they won the championship.
No, I was being nice for a change. I was saying it's a good pick when he's not one of your top 3 players because then he could just play the same role he played on the Nuggets.
That is also
about my first 4 picks.
That's also a fair point, Ferentinos, that you call him the Nuggets' 4th best player because that was one that we went back and forth on with Elliott when he was doing the protections. I think he was going to protect Michael Porter Jr.
But then Aaron Gordon was the guy that.
But Aaron Gordon is their 3rd best player. Yeah, if Aaron Gordon was on this board, I think he would have likely been an early pick.
And Elliott's
in the top 5 of the DM. So I got one good value pick. I'll take it.
Yeah, but he also thinks the Raptors have been like a well-built team the past few years. So like, does he watch basketball? I don't know.
And
you can't only have wings, Elliott. You can't only have wings. You need other players. All right, cool. Good one, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you. If anyone wants to trade, let me know. I know I got all the picks.
So you just took the Nuggets. Who'd you? Oh, you took Dylan Brooks from the Rockets. Okay.
The Rockets and Nuggets. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Narrowing it down. Okay.
I don't want to take Van Fleet because I want Harden, Jack, and all the 3s.
I'm curious who you think I'm going to take. I think you think I want to take Rui.
That's who I was thinking. Hanging out with LeBron James every day.
I don't really want to take Rui. So I'll tell you ahead of time. I mean, if he's around, maybe I'll get to him. But Rui is not on my short list. But I figured there was somebody on the Lakers that you were referencing. Okay. Well, I was going to say KCP. Nuggets. Can't pick him. Again, championship pedigree, multiple teams. Also went to prison for a little while. I respect that in a man.
Did not know that.
Wait, who did?
Yeah.
KCP?
KCP, yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Was it Nintendo Switch related or something else?
I don't think it was. He had to play with an ankle monitor on for a while when he was with the Lakers.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's KCP. People forget about that because he's another dude who's been in the league for like a sneaky long time.
Yeah.
You always wanted to pick an ankle monitor guy playing pickup growing up.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. You want it's kind of like when you're in high school and there's like the kid that got like tattoos too early. You're like, that's the coolest kid in school. Like, no, he's not. He just like probably doesn't have a great home life. But at the time, you're like, yeah, like street cred. Absolutely.
All right. Wait. So did you go?
No, I haven't gone yet. I'll tell you who my other option was that I'm not going to be able to take now because you took somebody from the Rockets. I was going to take Şengün.
He was on my list.
Yeah.
Good player.
I honestly considered him before Pirtle because he's younger. He's an incredible passer, and he's just got so much room to grow. But the Rockets stink might be too much. Fuck me.
Shock no Bucks have gone. Just looking.
Bucks have a lot of old players. That's one of the big things with the Bucks is they got a lot of old dudes.
I know you're a big Jay Crowder fan.
No one has ever said that about me. People wouldn't even consider that about me. All right, I don't want to have too much dead air. I'm gonna go. I'm going to go with Memphis. I'm going to go
Okay.
Marcus Smart.
Okay. Defensive
yeah,
stopper.
I'm gonna try and between him and Josh Hart, are they going to be able to be on the court at the same time? Probably not. Are they going to establish a culture of accountability and defensive intensity? I hope so. Like if we could end up if our first 5-year peak is the grit and grind Grizzlies, I'm good with that. That team has an identity.
Looks like you got Dylan Brooks at home.
Marcus Smart is better than Dylan Brooks. I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll see.
Yeah, I hate Marcus Smart, but not because he's a bad player, because he played for the Celtics forever, and it just made me mad every time I had to watch the Sixers play him. So,
and he's like objectively irritating to watch. Like
it's
whether you're rooting for them or against them, because when you're rooting against them, he'll have a night where he'll just like go crazy. Yeah. And then do something stupid where you're like, how are you an NBA player? And then if you're a Celtics fan, like I imagine he's caused a lot of heart attacks in Boston.
Yeah, I actually think Marcus Smart, though, is a guy whose offensive game has developed. It didn't always get backed up with like the numbers just because you don't want him taking the most shots. But he is a guy where I'd look and see like a crazy reverse layup and be like, was that Marcus Smart? Like he just like added to his bag. And yeah, you don't always want him taking the step back three in like a very critical game situation when you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown on your team. But I like he is some guy, and I think it was described perfectly on like a game thread that I was reading, but it's like Marcus Smart's the guy that if he's on your team, you love him, but you hate him if he's not on your team or on like your rival. Like definitely a guy that you would want and that I would want on my team.
So to the point about that, Marcus Smart, last 5 minutes of a ball game, close game. Let's even say you're coming from behind. Would you rather have Marcus Smart taking threes or Jaylen Brown going left and driving to the rim?
Well, I'll take Jaylen Brown, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I'll take Smart.
There's no right choice here. There's just two wrong choices.
Yeah.
Your better option is rebound. Yeah. I think that's one of my things is maybe Marcus Smart probably better. Let Jaylen Brown miss because Marcus Smart might be the guy to clean it up for him. He might be the guy to put it back on a layup. So
sure.
Yeah, we're gonna be a hard-nosed team. The offense is gonna struggle.
I mean, offense in the NBA. Why would you need it?
Yeah, right. The make or miss league.
Well, while we're talking about defense, I do need to shore up a little bit just of a defensive stopper. Really like this player. He probably feel like he would have been kept on a couple other teams. I'll take Jaden McDaniels of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Good player. Shot 39% from three this past year on the attempts that I can't find on my sheet. So I'm just going to pretend there was a lot of attempts because I do need a defensive stopper. And I feel like this player doesn't get talked about a lot. This next guy I'm going to take, but another forward. I'm just going to load up on forwards, basically build the Raptors, but with Jaden Hardy. I'm going to take Trey Murphy III. I don't think a Pelican is
nice.
Yeah, I think he is just a solid player. He might not ever turn into a superstar, but I don't really need it on this roster. But I also am a little bit biased because I listened to Zach Lowe talk about him on whatever podcast about how they think the Pelicans love him and think he has massive potential. So that's what I'm basing 75% of this pick on. So yeah, there are my two forwards, one defensive stopper, one kind of all around good player.
Yeah. Jaden McDaniels, idiot. in the playoffs, punched a wall, broke his hand. What are we doing, man? You're not LeBron James.
Yeah.
No, I actually really, much like you guys might be aware of at this point, I kind of like soft root for Minnesota teams because of my buddy Jared. I watch a lot of T-Wolves basketball. I watch probably more Vikings than I do a lot of NFL teams, and I watch a lot of Twins baseball. Jaden McDaniels is a really good team. He's a really good piece. He's a really good member of that team. I think he's absolutely vital to them. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He's, like you said, a defensive stopper. His offense is coming along. It's a good pick. I like him a lot. And Trey Murphy is there's a lot of guys from the Pelicans, I'll say, that I could have potentially, that if Pelicans were left in the later rounds, I would have taken. Trey Murphy, probably the best of the lot, unless you're specifically looking for like a rebounding center, and then you take JV. But like Trey Murphy, very good, a lot of potential, a lot of room to grow. On potential, he's one of the better guys on my short list.
Yeah, I think just to peel back the curtain, I probably would have taken Herb Jones, because talk about defensive stopper. That guy's awesome. I love Herb Jones.
Real good.
But because I wanted to get Trey Murphy, that's why I didn't pick him. But I probably would have taken it if the team thing wasn't a thing.
Herb Jones, also great basketball name. Sounds like he played for the ABA circa like 1956. Sounds like he played for like the Zephyrs or something like that. Like that's a great throwback name.
Thank you.
All right,
really good pick. Thank you.
Yeah, great pick, buddy. I love when people say Thomas Albert does this on list night all the time. He's always like, "Great pick, Thomas. Great pick." And Andrew and I are always like, "Shut up! They're so bad. You always lose."
Every fantasy draft, every time I make a pick, great pick, Matt.
Yeah. Well, good. It's good to believe in yourself. You guys remember all that stuff that I've been saying over the course of this draft about like defense and being like the grit and grind Grizzlies and all that shit? Throw it out. For my sixth pick, I'm going for one of the best six man you can get. Going to the Utah Jazz. I'm taking Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, it's.
I had another player on the Jazz that I really liked.
I wanted Keontae George so bad.
Me too.
God damn it. Why would you take Jordan
Don't
Clarkson?
think he fits my roster. This is a team that believes in themselves above all else. What's your thing for Keontae George? I'll listen to it. You also said, fine. Here's the thing, Matt Ferentinos. Sorry, I got to use last names. I'm an idiot. The other day, I think when we were talking about this topic, I think you said something about Keontae George, and I was like, I've got to beat him to the Jazz. I've got even because I don't like. I wasn't going to take him partially because I knew it would frustrate you. You talk about him a lot, like good. Way more than anyone who doesn't like, who's not a Jazz fan. You talk about Keontae George a lot.
I'm with Ferentinos on this one. He's good.
Yeah. Well, has he won Sixth Man of the Year?
No, he hasn't. He's also
has Jordan Clarkson. I'm not actually sure if Jordan Clarkson has. I'm pretty sure he has.
He might have won Comeback Player of the Year.
Oh, I think Jordan Clarkson won it a couple years ago.
Most improved. Sorry, that's what I meant.
On the Jazz?
Yes. When Clarkson was with
you're right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Also, the March 2015 Rookie of the Month.
Wow.
Yeah. Golf clap for him.
It's big time.
Dang it. Yeah. A jacker who's been in the league for 8 years.
Okay, first, I don't want to hear you call him a jacker because I've also you're talking about me building a team. Yeah, of course, it's gonna be a lot of jackers.
Well, we should probably just never call anybody a jacker. We should just have a different term for it.
You're right. I can see why you would say that.
Throwing up shots are a brick.
Yeah, just jackers all around. I don't know. Elliot might not even be on the show anymore. Like he might have left. We don't know.
He's probably
also a jacker. Just 4 for 4 on jackers. But I don't think anybody on earth talks about Jordan Clarkson more than Matt Ferentinos does, which is why it's funny that he was Jordan Clarkson. I do mean Jordan Clarkson.
Okay.
Like I've seen Matt talk on Twitter about Jordan Clarkson out of the blue. We were on vacation once, and he and I talked about Jordan Clarkson for 30 minutes, uninterrupted.
Yeah, when he was a youth. Now I'm like,
it was like 2 years ago. He was like 26. Now he's like 28. What are you talking about? He's younger than us.
No, Jordan Clarkson's good. He was another guy that took I feel like when he figured out what his role was going to be, and it is awesome for a 6-man to go out for like 40 in a night and completely take over a game, which he can do. That's a good.
He's the new Jamal Crawford. He's a microwave.
Yeah.
Lou Will. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is.
I like it. All right, Ferentinos, what do you got for us?
The last 2 picks, buddy. No,
I will say
he's got 3 more.
You got 3 more. Sorry.
So my boy that I was thinking about taking, who like a lot of picks ago, is still available. I'm going to take Bruce Brown on the Pacers. I just think he's a gadget player that can kind of do anything. He's really unique for an offense to have. I think that's why he's heavily sought after. I mean, he played a huge role for the Nuggets last year. I think he he almost like played, I don't want to say, because obviously Jokic is just like a once in a generation type player, but the spacing that he has, I think he's a player that understands the spacing while being an undersized guard, which I think he also has like a really big wingspan. He's one of those players that just can guard bigs, but is a smaller guy. Hustle, I feel like he's a really good fit for the team. Always loved Bruce Brown since he was on the Nets, and everywhere he's gone, the teams that he's gone to have played better, and I think he's elevated them, which is something that I think I need on my squad. And then next pick, let's see. I'm gonna go. Fuck it, I just like this. No, I'll go. Speaking of Jokic, I'm gonna go over to Miami and take Nikola Jovic.
Wow.
Just because he had some
Okay.
he had some pretty cool highlights. I feel like he's a developmental player. You got to have one of those guys that just is working in the lab that'll eventually get good in a few years. That's the guy I'm picking.
If this was a 15-team roster, that would make more sense. But yeah, I mean, when your name is that close to Nikola,
I didn't know what to do. I kind of panicked there.
Panicked. We've all been there. We've all tilted, had to pick. I was gonna say, did he even play for the Heat last year? I mean, he's super young.
I don't think so.
It's not, yeah.
He
young.
did. He had to have.
He didn't play too much. Let's see.
I think I want to say. I mean, there was like a lot of stuff about them holding him out, from like trade requests. Like they did not want to trade him. He had to have played last year.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
So, Clutch Points article says why Nikola Jovic will shock the world with his breakout 23-24 NBA season. So, You heard it here first, folks. I'm getting him with the last pick at a bargain. So,
got it. Yeah, he looks like he played at the beginning of the season, and then he was inactive most of the way, and then he came in a little bit towards the end of the season for their playoff push. I don't think he played for them in the playoffs at all. He wouldn't have.
I don't think he would have made that rotation.
No.
Even though they had a bunch of undrafted players.
It looks like he actually did in the UCF. Okay, so he did play in the finals. Yeah, all right. Not a lot. A little bit.
Probably garbage time.
Yeah.
And Serbia is always filthy at basketball. So
that's true.
Yeah. Got to have a good Serbian on your team. That's always a good
People
success.
Always say Serbia filthy at basketball.
You got to have a Serbian.
That's what people say about building a basketball roster. Got to have a Serbian. Okay.
I want that clipped for the episode.
All right. Now I gotta stop thinking about Serbians. I'm not gonna overcomplicate this one too much. Who's a guaranteed 17 points per game, Ferentinos?
Guaranteed 17 points per game, Russell Westbrook.
If you need 17, I don't know. That's not his numbers. If you need 25, he gives you 17. If you need 10, he gives you 17. Either one of you.
Julio Okafor, if you need, he just wakes out of bed and gets you 20 and 10.
I love when they used to say that about him. Roll out of bed, get 20 and 10. All right, you're not going to get it. So I'm going to the Warriors, and I'm taking Andrew Wiggins.
Oh,
that's I'm actually surprised he hasn't been picked yet.
Did not think about Chris Paul because because
he's
30 on the list that I was. The age was going to disqualify him no matter what. There was some reason why I didn't even think of Chris Paul. I might have had him listed for multiple teams, and I just took him off my list entirely. But yeah, I'm going to take Andrew Wiggins. 6'8", strong guy, all defense potential. He's played now that he's been on the Warriors. He's won a finals. He was arguably their third or second most valuable player during a huge portion of that playoff run. Like I said, he's going to give you 17 no matter how much you need. If you need 3 points, he'll give you 17. If you need 30 points, he'll give you 17. And that's nice consistency to rely on.
Yeah, early Andrew Wiggins on the Wolves, I just remember he was getting a lot of Kobe comparisons. And there was one game where he went off for 40 and had some sick game winner from the logo, I want to say, and it bounced off the backboard. And I was like, this guy's going to be a dog. And he's still pretty good. I mean, when the Warriors won a few years ago, he was an incremental part of that team. And he kind of turned into a role player, but he did give you everything that Canadian Jordan, he did gave him the minutes that they desperately needed. And I think it was a good system and a good fit for him. I wanted to bring up to you guys, because a guy that I was looking at but just didn't pick for a while because I don't even know if he's good. But is Jonathan Kuminga like still a developmental player? I know he's super young, but like the Warriors, it just seemed like haven't really given him minutes. I don't know. Like, is he good?
It's a good question.
He's not.
Okay, okay.
Jonathan Kuminga's like measurables were all like, we already have Draymond. Let's build another Draymond. Like that's the idea with Kuminga. It's not working. The 2 development timeline, I think, has like permanently fucked up his development. I also think maybe it's just not the best spot for him. And I don't think he has the feel for the game that they expected him to have. Is he bad? No. He just shouldn't be on a team like the Warriors. And I think with every passing year, so he may have ended up being a good pick. I don't know. With every passing year, it just like kind of shortens the timeline where he could get good. I don't see it happening with him. He's super athletic, but that's kind of it.
He was basically like, oh, we messed up choosing James Wiseman. Let's take Kuminga and hope that one of them pans out. We have this contending team. Let's have projects. And
I mean, like that worked with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and those guys, but you can't rely on that kind of system, particularly if you're trying to run 2 timelines at the same time.
Yeah, he was on my board. I still hold out hope for Kuminga, but I'd probably also admit that he's not really that good of a player. He's more theoretical than good.
Yeah.
All right. So it's my pick, right? You just went, Griffin.
Yeah, it's your yeah.
All right, my last 2 picks. Well, I know one of them. I don't really have any vets on my team because Jared Allen, even though he's been around forever, is still young. I'm gonna take Derek White. Just need a professional guard who can start if you need to, can run a little bit of pick and roll if you need to, can shoot if you need shooting. Just kind of a really good, solid, can kind of do it all. He had a really bad run last year's playoffs, and then he kind of came alive, I think, in the finals, if I remember correctly. Yes, over Brogdon. Brogdon, I guess technically we can count because because I guess he would have been on the Celtic. I don't know. My brain's in a pretzel over the recent trades. But I would have taken.
We're treating this like the list that was built a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's not going to be perfect.
Derek White had like one of the highest. I know, like for the minutes he played, he had like some of the best efficiency stats, and the Celtics actually performed some of the when he was on the floor, they were insane. And I remember being like, who the fuck is this Derek White guy? Because I think that's when the Nets got swept, I think he would came on and would put up really good minutes. That was a really good pick. Also, bald man Derek White now.
Yeah.
So that
it's a tough hairline. It's a tough hairline.
Shiny ass.
Over Brogdon for sure. Brogdon just can't stay healthy at this point. I like Brogdon, but his body is just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, he's a mess.
Last pick, I have a couple of players left on my board. I think all these teams are technically still available. I'm going to take Onyeka Okongwu of the Hawks, who is kind of more theoretical at this point than actually good NBA player. But I also think he can be pretty good. I think eventually whenever he takes over for Clint Capella, whenever that is, as an 8th man, he's not going to need to play a ton. I think he's got potential. I remember liking him. He played well 2 years ago in the playoffs when the Hawks made that run, and he kind of has been disappointing since. He's kind of like a lesser, not as dramatic DeAndre Ayton. But who knows? He's young. He's got upside. I think it's worth a shot. And Elliot says it's a good pick. So that's all I needed to hear.
He's good. He's going to be better. I had him not on my shortest list, obviously, but he was going to be, if I was going to take the Hawks, he was going to be my pick. I'm a big fan. I think he's going to be really good.
Awesome. And Elliot said, why do you like that I said that? I'm not good at player evaluation. So
that is absolutely true. It's good to have support, even if it's not great support. Pretty sure that's how the Nazis got going. So good for you. All right, my last pick. We haven't taken a Laker, right?
We have not taken a Laker.
I was close to taking Jared Vanderbilt, and I ended up just because for defense, but no. So Lakers are available. Long story short.
Yeah, I'm not going to take Jared Vanderbilt because I've got a lot of defensive stoppers already, and there's a point where it just starts to be a little bit redundant, particularly when They're not great offensive players, which he absolutely is not. So I'm going to go back on what I said earlier when I said I was not going to take Rui Hachimura, and I'm going to take Rui Hachimura. The defense is not as good as Vanderbilt's, but it's still pretty good. The scoring is significantly better. There is all the buzz about him being taken under LeBron's wing this year, and them kind of seeing him potentially as like their fourth best player when your top two players are Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and your third player is still a very, very good Austin Reeves. Not a bad, group to be in as the fourth best guy. Yeah, he's gonna round out my front court. He can kind of switch 3 or 4. I would not have him putting the ball on the court a whole lot. And for marketing purposes, we're probably whatever the Vegas casinos are going to have some Japanese themed uniforms. It's gonna be tight.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, for that whole like second half, he was a LeBron stopper, the Jokic stopper.
Jokic stopper.
Yeah, for an entire second half. So you got that going for you.
There might be some tension. I'm going to say this now. I'm going to get ahead of it. There might be some tension between him and Kuzma because Kuzma got kept by the Wizards basically in exchange for them not keeping Rui Hachimura. Like the Lakers wanted both of them, and they had to choose between the two. But I'd like to see them play together because I've seen it before, and it only lasted a few games, and it was not a bad combo.
Yeah, I like Rui. I don't hate it.
I was thinking about picking Rui earlier, so I definitely like that pick. It'll be interesting to see. There's always a lot of like off-season hype posts, but apparently he has put in a lot of work with LeBron in the off-season. So I'm curious how that is going to translate. Even on the Wizards, I thought that he was a really interesting player. I remember he started playing really well until he tore his scrotum or something. I know he got like kicked in the dick. It was like a very interesting injury that he had. And
he had like testicular like torsion or something. Like something got torn. He also had the period when he was with the Wizards where he missed a bunch of games for personal reasons, coming off of like the Japanese international run, and nobody ever reported what it was. I don't think anyone's ever going to figure out what it was, but I don't think something like that will happen again. But there is a character concern, surprisingly, with Rui as well.
I didn't realize he had like an Andy Bernard torn scrotum.
I think it was a torn scrotum. Like,
I'm
pretty sure
that episode. Yeah,
his keys.
All
right,
splits.
Yeah,
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, the Brock Purdy of this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take, just like Brock Purdy, well, hopefully not this Sunday night, proven winner, a guy that it's going to be a championship pedigree, help bring that to my team, and I'm just going to take Chris Middleton from the Bucks. Why not take, like, an amazing scorer who's still available?
I kind of forgot that he was available. That's a good pick.
I would say it's a stretch in this current year to call him an amazing scorer. Because if we want to circle back to the whole availability thing, he played 33 games last season. He was an amazing scorer. I struggle to call him that still, and I also wonder what he's going to be on a team that does not have Giannis's gravity. Despite what you might think about James Harden, he does not have Giannis's gravity at this point in time. But yeah, I mean, he's got a championship pedigree. He's been in the big games. He has straight up won the big games on his own merits. He's a good vet to have, particularly if you end up having like Middleton as like your sixth man or something like that. That's a pretty solid position to be in.
I was thinking about picking Russ, but I thought Middleton would be a better fit here. And
do you know where he went to high school?
Chris Middleton?
Yeah.
No, but I'm gonna guess like was it one of the DeMatha maybe? I'm trying to think like Brian Westbrook went there.
It's the location, Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, did he really? Nice.
Yep. Oh,
yep.
Damn. Called me out.
Got one of your. Well, I mean, I don't know how you would have known that. I mean, if I'd said college, you would have said Texas A&M. But there's no way to know what high school he went to.
That's cool though. No, Chris Middleton. Just again, I think of all these players and how they destroyed the Nets in the playoffs. He knows exactly when to hit a perfectly timed transition three. Like, just when you think that like the floodgates are opening and you're like, all right, we just got to hold them here, Chris Middleton would pull up and just hit a dagger every time.
He kills a lot of teams.
He was a killer. And in the fourth quarter of a lot of those games in the Bucks playoff run, he was their best offensive weapon over Giannis when Giannis was going through his free throw issues. He had some massive 3-pointers.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't I don't think get the credit that he probably deserves either for being as good as he is and being a second round pick. Like, he was never an all-star, I think, to my knowledge. But there was a big stretch there where he was like efficient 20-point per game guy.
I think he won one of the years the Bucks were the 1 seed and Giannis won MVP. I'm pretty sure he was an all-star because they were like, we can't have the best team in the NBA. Not only have, I'm pretty sure he was
one all-star.
Sure. Yeah. He may have been a multiple-time all-star. I feel like Middleton's always not even been consigned to being like the second best guy on the Bucks. Like a lot of times with like Brook Lopez and then Jrue Holiday and stuff like that, they treat him as the third or fourth best guy. And at this point he is because of the age and the injuries, but he was really good for a while. And if he can be healthy, Ferentinos' team has really, really great shot making.
3-time all-star.
3-time all-star. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dope.
So do we want to list our teams? So I got finished off with DeAndre Ayton as my number 1 pick.
A guy who loves the team of Jackers, and we're finishing off. Love that.
And the Jackers.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish all over this roster. So we got Ayton.
Charleston Jackers.
Cam Johnson, Dylan Brooks, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, Nikola Jovic, and Chris Middleton.
All right, great.
Charleston Jackers.
With the Charleston Jack. That's got to be your team name, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Vegas Casinos was good too, but
yeah. I'll be the Los Angeles third team. I got Anthony Simons, Kyle Kuzma, Jakob Poeltl, Josh Hart, Marcus Smart, Jordan Clarkson, Andrew Wiggins, and Rui Hachimura. I'm going to say this team, not great on the potential basis, but they are competing probably not like for a title, but we're getting that playoff revenue, baby. The Wizards have broken how I build a team.
I was going to say congratulations. Congratulations. I have the team that has the only actual shot of winning a championship at any point in their existence, assuming the core stays together. I have Jalen Williams, Jaden Hardy, Keegan Murray, Trey Murphy III, Jared Allen, Onyeka Okongwu, Jaden McDaniels, and Derek White.
Be pretty funny if you had Trey Murphy the first, who I imagine is like a 75-year-old man.
Yeah, I had to clarify that. I
had to specify which Trey Murphy you were getting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
We should do the over-unders for our own teams when we do our over-unders, see how they would do.
What's Modai's team name? Do we have one for Modai?
Well, when I was in like elementary school, my favorite animal was a monkey was my favorite animal. And I played Madden and made an expansion franchise and named my team the DC Monkeys. So that will be
Jesus Christ. Nope. Veto. Hard veto. I'm not going to say why I'm vetoing it, but I'm vetoing that.
Levi would not like your team.
Fifth grade Matt. That's what I named my team.
Cool.
We'll be the so
where'd you go to college?
Where'd I go to college?
Yeah.
JMU. James
I don't know why I thought you went to McDaniel.
No.
McDaniel Monkeys would have worked.
We'll be the Philadelphia 67ers because fuck the 76ers.
Is that? Oh no, I'm thinking of what is it? Adelaide. Their team is something like that. The Australian team. I don't think it's the 67ers, but it's something like that, right? Something the 39ers or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Great. Fantastic. We will. I think we should get graphics thrown up for this. We should toss this on Instagram.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to see who people vote and think is the best team.
Sure, it's definitely not going to be me because
we'll have to, not that people read captions because who reads on a photo-based platform, but we'll have to figure out the criteria for these teams.
I think if you put my team in NBA Reddit, it would win. I think if you put my team just with the casual vote, it would get last because people are going to be like, "Who the hell is Trey Murphy III?"
Sure, well, there might be a subreddit that I could submit this to. I'll look around.
Elliot's got a good one too for like a team, the best team this year versus the best team in 5 years. Which I think
we're drafting an expansion team, so I don't think one for the best team now is relevant.
Sure. You know, also, like, again, we only drafted 8 people. What picks do these teams get? Like, we could end up having like a Shaq and Penny situation where we get like really great picks.
True.
Charleston's an amazing free agent destination. I don't think I'm
Is
not going to
it?
get players in the draft. So I think
Is South
that
Carolina an amazing free agent destination? Is it renowned for being a place for pro sports? I don't think it is. We could talk about all of this off pod while we figure out the social media stuff. I think we've been here for almost an hour and a half. Probably a good time to sign off. Anything you guys want to touch on before we get out of here?
Go Phillies.
I'm good. Go O's, baby.
Go off season. Yeah. We will be back next Wednesday night, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. If you comment below, like, follow, subscribe, all that other stuff, we'll love you forever for it. And be sure to tune in next week. Make sure you share us with your friends as well, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
Adios.
Peace. Here's to the Charleston Jackers.